One is silent, Alexa. Whatever. I don't. Sorry.
Okay, we're live. Hey everybody, Michael Symon here. Fix It with Food, day 5. We are cooking out of the new book, Fix It with Food, Every Meal Easy. Today, I have it marked with my bench scraper. We are doing the grilled salmon with the celery and apple salad on page 54 and 55 of the book. Answer a couple questions that people have had kind of throughout the week with the book. This is the last day we're cooking out of the book this week. Probably do some in the future too, though. It's got a really nice response with it. So this is the second Fix It with Food book. It's 130 new recipes that are not in the first book. Also, the recipes in this book are for 1 or 2 people throughout the book, so smaller portion sizes. We also included a full substitution list in this book. So if you have like, I don't like this, could I use that? This will help you with that quite a bit. You know, what you should have in your pantry, shopping list, etc. So it's a nuts to bolt book. One question that a lot of people ask is if I have, could I just get book 2 without getting book 1? Do I need book 1 to get book 2? The answer is you don't. You could have either book. They're both independent of each other. But of course, I would like you to have both of them. But it is what it is. I'm just telling you the truth. One other thing, a little bit of housekeeping, is that in the questions, especially on Facebook, there's been some people that are putting my name and like win a prize, blah, blah, blah. If there's no blue check, it's not me. So, you know, you'll know the one that is me, ignore the other ones. I try to delete them as they come up, but there's always gonna be that little bit of weirdness on social media. It just is what it is. And of course, if you don't like what we're making and how we're doing it, no reason to say anything nasty, just move on to a new day tomorrow.
We have a question already asking if Tanya asked if she could substitute salmon for a whitefish like cod.
Yeah, we're using normal place. Come here, please. Oh, place down. There you go. You stay. I'm gonna wash my hands because someone yesterday was very upset that I fed my dog and didn't wash my hands while cooking my dinner for me. So today I'm gonna wash my hands. It's not like Luna's running around the restaurant, so I'm patting them and then feeding people. Okay, so any fish you could sub, any fish would work here. Obviously salmon has a lot of benefits because it has a lot of omega-3s, some really good fats in it, which is actually great for your joints, your heart health, all those kind of things. Different fishes have different amounts of that. Salmon happens to be loaded with it. You know, salmon honestly isn't my favorite fish in the world. There's a lot of fishes I like better than salmon. I do think, here's something that you guys should know at home. The more you cook fish, the stronger the fish tastes. So like if you eat sushi or sashimi, that is the mildest the fish will ever be in its raw state. Rare, pretty mild, medium rare, once you get up to well, the fish will get stronger tasting. So if we cook the salmon medium rare, it's gonna be relatively mild. If we cook it very well, it's gonna get stronger because of all the oils and stuff moving around. First thing that we want to do is we want to put the salmon, I left the skin on. Now, this is grilled salmon. We said you could do it in a grill pan, you could also do it in a regular pan. When we got the salmon today, it was skin on, so we decided we're gonna leave the skin on and teach you guys how to make crispy skin fish. So the first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna take your fish and you're gonna put it on some paper towels to make sure that it gets very dry, okay? I'm gonna turn my pan on the lowest of low heat and just let that start to warm up a touch. This is one of the, when you're making a crispy skin fish, it's one of the few things where your pan isn't really hot. You kind of start it in a slower pan so that skin slightly adheres to the bottom before it releases and get crispy. If you put it in a super hot pan with the skin, it's gonna curl up like this. You're gonna get that big U shape in your skin. Any questions?
I have a good question. Were there any food or ingredients that you didn't like, but as you developed as a cook, you learned to enjoy?
Not really. I've always, even my mom said when I was a kid, I hated peas, probably like most kids. My mom was also giving me canned peas, which were nasty. I didn't like beets as a kid. I love them now as an adult. But fresh peas taste so much different than canned peas. They're like sweet, they're like candy, they're delicious. Same with like a fresh roasted beet, very sweet, natural sugars, delightful. But the thing I tell people all the time, and the thing that I've always tried to do, and the thing we tried to do with Emmy was just here. The thing we tried to do with Emmy, our granddaughter, is you have to try everything. You have to try it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. We'll move forward. We'll move on. But you taste it. There are a lot of people out there that they look at something like, I'm not going to like that. How do you know? You'll never know. I think the mind sometimes gets in the way of what you may be missing out on. I don't eat raspberry and kiwi. It's not necessarily because I don't like them. I'm allergic to them. So they make my throat kind of close up, my mouth itch. I don't eat those. Everything else I eat. Everything I've tried, I've basically enjoyed. There are things that I like better than others, like anything else. But my grandfather, Pap, cooked everything, cooked offal, cooked all the meats, cooked all this, everything. So we ate everything as a kid. I ate everything as an adult. That's just how I was raised. Now my sister's the pickiest. She's very picky, Picky Nicky. That's what my dad used to call her when she was a kid. All right, so salmon, we put it on the towel so the skin would dry. I season the top with a little bit of salt. I'm just gonna turn this over. And the drier you could get the skin, the crispier you're able to get it, because then it won't steam at all. So I'm gonna just give it a little bit, and when it starts to feel dry, you could see it gets see how it's a little tacky when I pull away? That's what we want. I'm gonna put a touch of salt on the skin side. Sometimes you will see people make a couple slices in the skin, some thin slices, which will help with the skin not seizing up on you. This isn't a necessary step, and if you do the fish right, it should behave with it pretty well. And then I'm just gonna take the smallest amount of olive oil and put it on the bottom of the skin. We're gonna give it a really nice rub there. And this is basically the same method you would do if you were grilling it. Even if the skin is on and you don't want the skin, and it's, once it's cooked, you could just pull the skin off. So don't worry if they gave you skin on salmon, you could always pull the skin off. It's very easy to get it nice and crispy in a pan. So now I'm gonna take my salmon and I'm gonna place it in my pan. And there's you don't hear that big sizzle like you do with most of the other things that we cook. Like some things have different rules. And I'm gonna go over medium heat. And I'm just gonna let this do its thing. It'll start to sizzle. I'll keep it kind of slightly pressed down so that skin is like adhering a little bit. This is a carbon steel pan, not a non-stick pan. A lot of people do this in non-stick pan. They'll put some oil or butter on the bottom of the skin and do the same procedure. If we weren't in a fix it with food mode, I would baste this with butter at the end to finish it, but we're eliminating dairy through the reset, so I won't do that with this, but I'll show you how we're gonna finish it.
Sorry.
No, go on.
Would you shave the skin and fry it and then sprinkle it over the salmon?
Oh, you could take the skin off, crisp it, and crumble it and put it on top. Totally fine. Who doesn't love crispy skin?
And just a comment, I saw someone say that because you always say you can substitute things if you don't like one thing. There was a vegetarian who's making this tonight with tofu.
There you have it.
So I appreciated that.
Yeah, so I mean, you could always, if you could use the same recipe, you could use a big portobello mushroom or different, protein substitutes, so to speak. All that would work.
Do you have an opinion on farm raised versus wild salmon? And what kind are you using?
I have lots of opinions, Katie Pickens. Real quick though, I have some Dijon mustard here and some cider vinegar. This is just the start of our vinaigrette. I use cider vinegar because we're using apples, but you could use any vinegar in here that you have in your house. Put salt and some cracked black pepper. So I prefer wild salmon. The farm-raised stuff, not always great. They have them penned up, get a little murky. They're not doing the things that they are supposed to do. So you know, wild caught salmon is always going to be your best option in the salmon world. It's a little bit more expensive, but it tastes 1,000 times better, and it has some better health benefits in it too. Like actually, a lot of the farm-raised salmon, because they're penned up and not in their natural kind of habitat, they're actually putting dye in the water to turn the salmon the color that we want it to be. So there's that. Vinegar, mustard, salt and pepper, extra virgin oil, basic vinaigrette. So remember, basic vinaigrette is 1 part acid, 2 parts fat. You can then adjust it to your palate from there, but anybody can make a dressing, no reason to ever buy one. 1 part acid, 2 parts fat. It could be vinegar, it could be citrus, olive oil, different oils, 1 part acidity, 2 parts fat. You have dressing, any seasonings you want to put in. If I'm being fancy, sometimes I will put some shallot in there. I'm going to put some fresh ginger in. We're going to peel the ginger first with a spoon. Just the side of a spoon. Get the skin off. And then I'm going to take this to the microplane and grate it in. Now, ginger has some great qualities when we're talking about, you know, fixed with food and health. Great for the gut. It's a great digestive. Helps a lot with digestive, like the core. It helps a lot with digestion. Gives you a big flavor boost. Good vitamin C.
Someone has a question about soy. Can soy be an inflammation trigger?
Soy can be a trigger because soy has a good amount of salt in it. And soy product in general could definitely be a trigger for people.
Okay.
All right, so we have in our Dijon mustard, we have in our cider vinegar, fresh ginger, extra virgin olive oil, salt and pepper. So that is the base of our dressing. Now what's gonna go in that, this is a celery and Granny Smith apple salad. We're gonna use celery, the leaves of the celery, which are delicious, and Granny Smith apple cut thinly or julienne. Norm, you're being very good, buddy. Look at you placing there like a big guy. Very proud of you. Yeah, good boy. All right, Katie's getting close up. All right, so the apple, I'm just gonna keep turning around. I'm gonna leave the skin on because I don't mind the skin. And we're just...
Oh, someone's asking if they can use a vegetable peeler to peel the ginger.
Yeah, but a spoon's easier. Everybody has a spoon. Don't tell me you don't have a spoon. The spoon's gonna work easier and it's not gonna get into the flesh as much because the skin on the ginger is so soft. So we got all skin, no flesh. So I would say, yes, you could use a peeler, but you know, everybody has a spoon in their house, use the spoon, and you are gonna end up with more ginger.
Do you ever freeze your ginger?
Ginger freezes very well, yes. So you can't freeze ginger. I would grate it first, then freeze it in little bags or trays.
And everyone's asking for a salt substitution.
All right, so a couple things. There are things you could substitute for salt. Nothing works in the fat that salt does. Acidity opens up your palate is a good substitute. So if you have to eliminate salt completely from your diet. Yesterday we cooked with some, we used nutritional yeast. That is a good salt substitute. You know, those are two that work really well. The most important thing though, guys, quite honestly, is if you're cooking from scratch, the amount of sodium you are reducing for your diet is massive. A can of soup has this much salt in it. A bag of chips has this whole salt container in it. So when you're eating something out of a can or a bag or a box, the amount of sodium that they're putting in there to preserve it is monumental compared to this that we're putting on top of a fish or a veg. So that's gonna be your biggest way. Now, if you need to cut out sodium completely for doctor's reasons, absolutely do. And those are some of the things. A lot of people say, Mrs. Dash, never used it, have no idea what's in there, can't recommend it because of that. So I would, I go acidity and nutritional yeast. And the other great thing about it, if you go nutritional yeast for that little pop, is nutritional yeast has tons of vitamin B in it, which is great for you. Very good for your immune system. So you get the benefit of those things with nutritional yeast too, which you probably don't get with Mrs. Dash. And vinegars are great for gut health, especially cider vinegar, and especially vinegar that is alive. Like if you buy cider vinegar that has the mother, which means it's alive. So there we go, Bragg's with the mother.
I never noticed that before.
That's what you're looking for. All right, so the apples, cut them as thin as you can. You'll get better with the knife as you continue to cook. But again, cooking from scratch is where you are going to do the best when it comes to sodium. That's where you're really gonna make your big cutback. Same with sugar. You know, like there's so much hidden sugar in food, it's insane. All right, so apples are gonna go in the dressing. There's a little bit, obviously, some acidity in there, which is good because then I don't have to worry about my apples turning color. So I'm gonna give them a toss to coat them. See how our fish is doing.
You recommend kosher salt and sea salt, correct?
I cook with kosher, I finish with sea. I sprinkle iodized salt on my sidewalks. I don't really, but I just like that joke. Hey, we are almost there with the fish to flip. So come over here real quick, guys. Now, you can see I'm over low to medium heat here. So there's the flame. Look, if you're using a gas stove, you can see how high my flame is. This pan was barely hot. We just put a little bit of oil on the fish, season the fish, and put it skin side down in the pan. To this point, I haven't touched the fish, but you could see how it's starting to set up and cook through and getting that skin super crispy. So, like I said, if it was butter, I wouldn't even flip it. I would just base it with the butter to cook it the rest of the way through. In this situation, I'm gonna wait till the skin is crispy. I'm gonna flip it and just finish it on the other side till we're mid-rare, because that's how I like to eat it, and then we'll eat it. If you want your fish well done, set your oven to 325, put it in the oven for about 5 to 7 minutes to cook it the rest of the way.
Okay.
Don't want the house to smell like salmon. All right, so as the fish is finishing, I have some celery. We're just gonna cut the celery very thin. Katie Pickens, my co-host and culinary director and dear friend and daughter and all those things. She's actually not my daughter in real life, she just plays it on TV.
And in real life.
And in real life, yeah. So she peels her celery because she's crazy. I don't peel mine, but Katie likes to peel off the...
It's less fibrous.
Less fibrous. Katie doesn't like all the fiber. You could do that if you see fit. I don't do it.
Only when you eat it raw.
Which we're doing. Do you peel that with a peeler, Pickens?
Yeah.
With a peeler. Vegetable peeler. So if the stringy fiber bothers you on celery, it can be peeled. Katie will put that up on her Instagram channel later. So we cut the celery in there. I saved the celery leaves. I'm gonna throw the celery leaves in because they have tremendous flavor. Also, if you garden, you could cook or you could grow celery leaves or lovage, and it's delicious to put in salads. If you love celery, especially. Save this.
Few people asking about the pan. I know you mentioned it before, but is it a carbon steel pan?
Yep.
Does it have to be?
Nope.
Would this work in
So-
other pans?
So I'm cooking in a carbon steel pan. I love carbon steel because things release from it so well if you season it properly. Cast iron would work in the same situation. A non-stick would work in the same situation. Any pan that you feel releases food well. I like doing it in carbon steel as opposed to a non-stick because I want the skin to adhere a little bit to the pan before it gets crispy and released. That's what gives you that nice, flat, crispy skin. So I think we're about ready to flip. Oh, almost, not quite ready yet. A little bit, see, it's still sticking a little bit. So like, if you go to move it and it's still sticking a touch, it's telling you it's not ready. So just back off and let it go for another second. The one on the left here moved. The one on the right is still sticking a little bit. So I'm gonna take the one on the left. I'm gonna flip it over and look at the skin. It is like a cracker. So that's what you want. You want that beautiful, crispy skin. Thickens, I still got it. I mean, that's like Iron Chef shit right there.
It is. Fun.
So that's what you're looking for. And this is one of those dishes that is this is a patience situation. So, you know, you guys saw I was sitting here talking to you, doing the fish, doing all that stuff. If I'm rushing over there, trying to flip it, trying to move it, trying to it's gonna you're gonna tear it to shreds. Put it in the pan, low medium heat, let it go, let the skin get crisp. When it is ready, it will move on its own. That's when it is ready to flip. Flip it, cook it on the other side for a couple minutes, and then you're good. Liz just gave me, because I didn't have the hood on and I'm cooking salmon, Liz just gave me this food when she watched that. Which means, you know, this is why a lot of people don't, like, I could do this, which will get all the salmon out, but then you guys wouldn't be able to hear a word I said. So we're gonna go low. It'll be fine. Liz, don't worry, we're going back to Cleveland tomorrow. It'll air out.
We have a question about Junior. Shy Style Gambini says, I love learning your methods of cooking, but do you use any new age ways?
Say it again.
He loves learning your methods of cooking, but do you use any new age techniques or like newly developed techniques?
So, okay. I know what he's probably referring to, some of the molecular gastronomy stuff. Not a fan. Not that they don't work, but here's what happens with all those things. You shouldn't know how to sous vide something until you could braise the perfect piece of meat, till you could sear the perfect piece of meat, till you could grill something perfectly. Until you learn the fundamentals perfectly and you could execute them flawlessly, there's no reason to get in these new fandangled techniques. A lot of the young kids coming out of culinary school, all they want to do is the new stuff. They don't learn the classics. You need to know the fundamentals. I've never met, look, I've cooked next to, with, across from the greatest chefs in the world. I've been fortunate enough to cook with, I'm not saying all of them, but almost every single one of them. Every single one of them, their fundamentals were perfection. And if your fundamentals are perfection, you could do anything else. But no one will ever convince me that sous videing a short rib is gonna taste better than braising one in a pan. Not a chance. I've tasted both ways. It doesn't happen, you know? So learn your fundamentals, learn your techniques first. Then if you wanna get a little adventurous into some of the molecular stuff, have at it. But always remember that food should taste like food. All right? It shouldn't taste like a day at the circus. Okay, so.
So we're getting some Norman requests, so
right.
We're gonna pause it over there for a minute. Norman, say hello! He's very occupied with that bullet stick.
Okay, so I am going to take my fish.
We have a question. How do you cook tilapia?
I mean, you cook all fish the same way. Be careful with tilapia though, guys. Farm raised, not a healthy fish. It is not a fish that I would recommend eating for health reasons. It's a dirty fish. Sorry, tilapia people, but it's a dirty fish. There's a lot of other better fishes out there.
I just have to show Norman eating this on my foot.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so we have that beautiful crisp skin salmon. Again, in the book, we grilled it. You could totally grill it too, but it's rainy outside today. Wasn't in the grilling mood, so we did it inside. You could do this in a grill pan if you'd like. Then you're gonna take that apple and celery salad. And right next door, how you doing? And that's it. You could finish it with some extra virgin olive oil if you'd like. You could hit it with some extra dressing if you'd like. A little cracked black pepper maybe on the finish. But this is super simple and super easy. One of the ways that I love eating proteins, this is even before fixing the food or some of the issues that I've had with inflammation between the RA and the discoid lupus. I love proteins with fruits and vegetables. I don't like them with heavy starches for the most part. So I love having, a perfectly cooked piece of salmon or any fish or any protein with a nice crunchy acidic salad with it. I feel that the crunchy acidic component cuts through the fat and the richness of the protein. Any questions, guys? I mean, this is...
Oh, Barbara lives in hot Florida. Should she keep her oils and spices in the fridge?
If it's really hot in your house, I would say yes. I mean, cool, dark place is... The fridge, I wouldn't go fridge. I would go cool, dark place. They usually don't have basements in Florida either, but you could see here, listen. That's what you want when we're getting the thicker part of the fish. You can see, this is a little bit closer to medium, but it's cooked beautifully through. And the skin is, incredible. I like the skin even more than the fish itself. Like me. A little fun fact for you, Andrew Zimmern's favorite snack is crispy salmon skin. Did you know that, Pickens?
I didn't. I love him.
I love him too. Did Bobby drop in today? Any celebrity chefs drop in? It's Friday, they're very busy.
We've had comments flying in, so I might have missed someone, I don't know.
All right, let's do 3 more quick questions. What do you got? Katie, you go first. Question.
You mentioned you don't like salmon a whole lot. Do you have a favorite fish?
My favorite fish is probably halibut. It depends. Halibut or, I'm in Long Island quite a bit now because Kyle lives out here with his wife, Krista, and our 2 grandchildren. When stripers are running, when the striped bass is running, I have a friend of mine who fishes. He pulls them out of the water, brings them here. That's my favorite fish when it's that way. So I would say stripers and halibut. All right, you're up, Alexa. What do we got?
Let's see.
This is so good.
We're having just like a lot of, oh man, I love tilapia comments, So
I'm sorry.
I think just, would your cooking change any if you had salmon without the skin tonight? Would you have done anything differently?
If I cooked it with the salmon without the skin, I would have got the pan a little bit hotter in the beginning. I would have put some oil in the pan as opposed to on the salmon, and I would have went about 3 minutes aside. I wouldn't have to go so long on the one side to get the skin crisp.
Everyone is wanting to know where this pepper mill is from. They were asking yesterday too.
This is a mystery.
I know.
Someone gave this to us. Wait. Someone sent this to the house, and we were not able to figure out where it came from. So whoever sent it to me, thank you. It is the greatest pepper mill that I've ever had, to be quite honest, from a performance standpoint. It is called it's got some crazy European dots and stuff over things, but it is spelled MANNKITCHEN. So like man kitchen, but with 2 N's. MANN kitchen. I haven't gotten anything else from them. I don't know what the cost of this is. I do know we've had it for several years now, and we kind of beat the crap out of it. And it has, you could go from find a course, and it performs very, very well.
I bought you an apron from Man.
Oh, Liz bought me an apron from Man Kitchen.
Oh, someone chimed in. They have the same one. That's correct.
Yeah, it is a beast of a pepper. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Katie hasn't even broken it yet.
Oh, you're so funny.
All right, one more question.
Do you have a special lobster cooking technique?
Yeah, I mean, I like grilled lobster. So, I blanch them very quickly, like a minute, split them, finish them on the grill with a flavored butter is how I like to do them. If it's your first time cooking lobster and you Google Thomas Keller cooks lobster, it's a very in detail way of cooking lobster, but it's tender every time. All right, guys. Well, thank you Fix It with Food, every meal easy. We did Monday through Friday this week. We're gonna leave all the videos up so you can continue to watch it. I also want to thank everybody that has watched. I got we shot up the Amazon charts for sales, which was very exciting. So thank you. Thank you for purchasing the book. I love doing live classes. I know there's a couple people that say cook more, talk less, but these live feed classes, that's what these are about. You know, they're not edited. I want to answer as many questions as I can and get the dish done, hang out with Norman and Lizzie. I got, you know, Alexa and Katie on camera, so it's fun stuff. So enjoy the book. If you don't have autoimmune issues and inflammatory issues, you'll still love the book. There's a lot of great recipes in it. And if you do, I hope it helps you feel better. It has helped me tremendously over the past 4 or 5 years. And I hope you get all the benefits that I have from the book. So happy cooking, share the love. Norman, enjoy the rest of your bully stick. And we will see you guys very soon.